Yeah, the intersection is back open, but you can still see where the two cars collided just north of the intersection. Normally at this time, the pool would be full with families and kids excited and playing around in the water. But for the past few hours, the gate behind me has been locked. Now,
let's get to that scene right now where we find 21 Alive reporter Taylor Williams. She was one of the first people on the scene. Taylor, good evening to you. What can you tell us?
Good evening, Amelia. When I first arrived on scene, it was chaotic with people running out of the mall, crying and looking for their loved ones. Now it's calmed down. The police still have the food court blocked off. Yeah. Traffic is still being rerouted on US 24, and I'm going to go ahead and let you know what police have told us. It all began a little before 9 o'clock this morning near Homestead and US 24. That's on the southwest side of Fort Wayne. That's when police say a man driving a car hit a construction sign and several of those orange barrels. He continued west on 24, where he left the roadway just before Amber Road.
Well, about 5 minutes out, maybe 4.
Police say a review is now underway into how the officer in this video handled a traffic stop in South Whitley. The officer says he pulled over the 18-year-old driver because she had a headlight out and she was speeding. She wound up in handcuffs on the pavement. The family released the video on YouTube, which has led to a barrage of comments and concern. And today the town council held an executive session to look into what happened.
Yeah, the teen's mother and father did sit down with 21 Investigates reporter Taylor Williams, who has more.
The family says they were angry when they first saw the video. They hope by putting it out there, it will start a conversation about training for officers. A rainy day, January 24th in South Whitley. You can see Officer Brian Schimmel pulling 18-year-old Vivian Augustus over. He says she had a headlight out and was speeding.
About 5 minutes out, maybe 4.
In this police report obtained by 21 Investigates, Officer Schimmel says Augustus wouldn't roll her window all the way down. He says he wanted her to get out of the car so they could hear each other. He says she refused and wouldn't give him her driver's license or identify herself. So he, quote, assisted her out of the vehicle. This is how he explained it to her dad, who showed up on the scene.
Want to give me her ID, want to give me her registration, so she was assisted out of the vehicle.
Brent and Macy Augustus used different words to describe what happened.
We were not prepared for how quickly things escalated. And it's just, just confusion of what facilitated this.
This is how Officer Schimmel explained what went down to a second officer.
Pull over for headlight speed.
Okay.
Cracks her window. Ask her to roll it down the rest of the way. Cracks it another ½ inch. Ask her to exit. She refuses to exit until I tell her why. Tell her about 4 or 5 times to exit the vehicle. You don't want to go down this route. Refuse to exit. So, pulled her ass out, put her in arm bars, slammed her to the ground, got her in custody.
The teen was charged with refusal to identify herself while stopped for an infraction, resisting law enforcement, and speeding. The prosecutor's office dropped the resisting charge, but when the family learned the court set a trial date for October, they decided to release the video.
We've had, months of people speculating about it and talking to our kids at school about it and, friends and all kinds of things. So we're like, we'll just put up a video. People can draw their own conclusions.
Police posted this statement on Facebook. It says, quote, "It is a crime to refuse to identify yourself if stopped for a traffic infraction. Further, a law enforcement officer is authorized to arrest any individual who commits a crime in the officer's presence." It goes on to say the reasonableness of this officer's conduct during the arrest is being reviewed.
More than anything, if it shines a light that says police need more training to be able to de-escalate situations, especially when they're dealing with young people, and you could save somebody else from having a negative interaction, that would be a win.
I did some digging and discovered Officer Schimmel worked for the Monrovia Police Department last year. The Monrovia police chief says Schimmel served a 10-day suspension and had to complete de-escalation training after an incident at a racetrack.
Out, put her in our bar, slammed her to the ground, got her in custody.
How old is she?
An officer slams an 18-year-old student to the ground during a traffic stop. The video of her arrest has led to public outcry. And new tonight, a town councilman confirms the officer, Brian Schimmel, is no longer with the police department because of safety concerns. This is a follow-up to a story our 21 Investigates team broke earlier this week.
Yeah, the Whitley County prosecutor has dismissed the case against the teen, saying, quote, legitimate community concerns about the arrest and officer conduct before, during, and after the traffic stop diminish the state's ability to successfully prosecute the case.
21 Investigates reporter Taylor Williams joins us now with those new developments. Taylor.
The officer pulled the teen over for speeding. He says she wouldn't give him her ID and refused to get out of the car. The rest was caught on tape.
When I asked you to step out of the vehicle, you step out of the vehicle. You don't get to sit there and tell me how I'm going to do my job. Do you understand?
That was South Whitley officer Brian Schimmel on January 24th of this year. He says he pulled over 18-year-old Vivian Augustus for speeding and a broken headlight. Gas station surveillance shows what he did after he says she refused to get out of the car. And when Vivian's father saw it, he was irate.
But there are still conversations that need to be had. There are still bridges that need to be mended here and changes that need to be put in place to prevent this from happening again to anyone.
Brent Augustus learned Friday morning that the prosecutor dismissed charges against his daughter, and Officer Schimmel was no longer on the force.
But we did not expect this at all. Certainly not this quickly.
He thinks it's the result of community pressure, a website, signs, and calls to action. Then a civil rights attorney picked up the story and put it on YouTube.
They don't like to face the public. You know, if before the public has seen the footage, in a lot of these cases, you know, they will defend these officers, and that's what they did here.
It's absolutely clear to me that it has been because of the community support and people rallying behind seeing something wrong and being vocal about saying something about it.
And for the first time, we're hearing from Vivian. I spoke with her earlier today, and this is what she had to say.
As time has gone, I've learned to be a lot more positive about it and try and think to myself that if this had to happen in order for there to be some change in our community, then I'm happy to do it. And it is what it is. And I've felt very relieved knowing that all of my charges have been dropped.
A town councilman tells us that the town took down all of his social media pages because of threats. He wants to make it clear that a new page claiming to represent the police is fake. In Huntington North High School's history, that the show choirs won state, and they are so happy about it, they just couldn't help but sing. Ain't no party like a bee, that's party 'cause the bee has party don't stop. Festivities are still underway inside the show choir room at Huntington North High School as the group celebrates their big win over the weekend.
It was just the best feeling I've ever imagined.
For the first time in school history, both show choir groups, the Viking Volume and the Varsity Singers, took home the top prize, the state championship. But that's not all. This season, they also took home hardware from nearly every competition they were in.
It was honestly the best season that, for us seniors, we could have ever asked for a senior year. We've never won this much.
It's an accomplishment that no other show choir in the school's history has won, something members don't take for granted.
It definitely feels like more pride. Knowing that you had a part in that championship.
And it's bittersweet for the seniors who started their show choir careers in the height of the pandemic.
Where we started as freshmen and we had to perform with masks. It was really hard and not really good seasons. And then sophomore year, junior year, we finally got our first win. And then to win this many times this year just makes you feel really accomplished.
Their secret to all those wins, lots of practice.
It's like almost 5 days a week, if not more. You're just continuously practicing, running over choreo, music, whatever it may be. You continuously practice.
But with moves like these, it's no wonder they took home the grand prize. And for director Andrew Childress, the wins are a chance to improve.
Try to find moments to celebrate within each day too, and just kind of enjoy and take in the moment for a couple days. But we also don't want them to get too big of heads. We know we can always get better and we can always keep growing.
Growing a legacy for the next generations.
I'm expecting that they pick up right where we left off and that we go to those competitions and we slay the stage.
21 Alive reporter and Markle resident Taylor Williams tells us how the entire community is excited about the big event.
The day-long event in Markle is called Total Eclipse of the Park. It's because it's being held at Markle's Town Park, but you'll find plenty of places there to celebrate.
We are excited.
The town of Markle is normally home to, as we locals put it, 1,102 happy people in Fort Grouches. But come Monday, April 8th, officials think Markle's population could change in some ways because of the eclipse.
You might see 2,000, you might see 10,000, we might see 200. I don't know. We're just planning for the worst and hoping for the best.
After months of planning, crews started getting the town ready Friday. Markle's operation manager, Mike Grant, says the big event is bringing out a fun side of the townspeople.
I love it when the community comes together to put an event on. It's great. Watching your neighbors work with each other and have fun and, bring their families, and that's what small towns are about.
With more visitors expected, business owners like the bread guy are already rolling out their specials.
We're also going to be doing the pretzels, regular pretzels, stuffed pretzels, jalapeno pretzels with various dips, cheeses, and all the goodness, so you can walk around and enjoy while watching the sun go bye-bye.
Next door at Nadine's, cakes, cookies, and catering. They're celebrating with a box full of everything you may need for the big day, including Eclipse glasses and Eclipse cookies.
The people are so excited about the boxes. It's just a simple thing, but we've had people come from out of town, call from out of town, and come and get them. And to see other people's excitement has helped us get excited about this coming weekend.
The Seven Wonders Beauty and Barber Lounge is offering what the owner calls out-of-this-world makeovers for hair and nails.
Oh, who wouldn't? Right? I mean, it's just fun.
You can also find Eclipse deals at the Antique Mall.
Markle is a historical town. Just to add to the history of the town, this eclipse it's a big deal.
And looking for an Eclipse cocktail or keepsake? The Pickle will open early all weekend with live music, not to mention pop-up food stations across town.
My favorite part and my least favorite part are the same, just the anticipation.
A weekend full of fun, all celebrating a minute and 20 seconds in the dark.
We're ready for just about anything.
It was very frightening and terrorizing.
On the night of April 12th, Kendallville police were called to the Drake Terrace apartment complex around 7:30 on reports of shots fired. When police got there, they knocked on the door of 60-year-old Michael Emmons, who police say grabbed a gun and fired through his front door.
Kendall police, open the door!
Deborah Zelinkas lived in the apartment directly below Emmons and was outside when the shooting happened. This is the moment police asked her to get behind officers.
Ma'am, other side of me now.
And she ran and hid behind a nearby dumpster.
With bullets flying over the top of my head. And praying with Jesus a lot.
For nearly 11 hours, officers and Emmons exchanged gunfire. All told, investigators say Emmons fired hundreds of rounds. Police eventually went into the apartment and found Emmons hurt. Paramedics told an officer on the scene that he appeared to have 2 gunshot wounds. He died in the ambulance. A year later, the building has been repaired and sits empty.
It seemed like it happened and, oh well. You know what happened. They forgot all about it.
Resident Ashley Master says she can't forget. Her daughter was in the apartment next to Emmons and wasn't hurt.
When I came to realization about what had really happened is when I seen all the bullet holes in my daughter being in that apartment. It really set in for me. It just kind of brings everything back, and I'm just very thankful that, nobody did get hurt and that I still have my girls.
Police reports show Emmons had multiple run-ins with the law before the shooting. Neighbors feel a bigger conversation needs to be had about mental health and the policies to help those struggling.
The outcome could have been a lot different had things been done better. So mental health needs to be recognized as a disease and treated right.
The Noble County coroner has ruled Emmons' death as undetermined. The case is in the hands of the Noble County prosecutor. Sheriff Scott Holliday said there are several pieces that went into finding the missing girl. A license plate camera was just one of them. Driving into Wells County, you may not have noticed a new addition to the side of the road. This is a flock safety camera. It's used to read vehicle license plate numbers for the sheriff's department.
It's a snapshot, a picture, not a video. It's a picture of the back of a car, and it helps us to fight crime and keep our community safe.
Wells County Sheriff Scott Holliday says the cameras went up about a month ago. So far, the cameras have read more than 158,000 license plates, leading to arrests for drunk driving and drug possession. But the cameras have also helped find a missing girl.
The outcome could have been a lot worse.
Last December, a silver alert was issued for a missing girl out of Zanesville. Holliday says law enforcement had little to go on at first, only having a description of the van and that the license was out of South Dakota. Law enforcement turned to the flock safety camera database.
Through neighboring agencies that we were able to track that car, or at least get a hit on that car in our area, which helped us to apprehend her literally within about 6 or 7 hours.
Flock Safety says that more than 5,000 law enforcement agencies across the U.S., including 200 here in Indiana, use the cameras. When a vehicle passes a camera, a picture is taken. And then after 30 days, officials say it's deleted.
It will never be shared or sold to any private third parties. And that's why we only focus on vehicle details, objective pictures of vehicles and license plates, nothing to do with biometric data or facial recognition at all.
However, the cameras have raised privacy concerns by the American Civil Liberties Union of Indiana. Sheriff Holliday says he understands the concerns.
As law enforcement, we're held to a very high standard when it comes to people's right to privacy. And as the elected sheriff, I ensure people that this information is not being misused.
The camera runs on a subscription basis. The sheriff says if they continue to help solve crime, he'll ask for the money to renew them next year.